Hi guys! So my husband and I took DNA tests for this company 23andMe. So this video will be about my husband's DNA test results and our experience working with this company 23andMe. So before we get started, I recommend that you guys watch my video, The Science Behind DNA, just so you understand some of the basics of DNA testing or DNA test results. And you won't get too lost about some of the things I talk about in this video. I will leave the link for that video in the description box below, if I remember. So I guess let's get started. So my husband and I paid for our DNA tests on November 18th, 2017. We ended up paying the Black Friday sale. So as you can see here, we bought 2 DNA kits for $98, and we had to pay $14.95 in shipping for a grand total of $112.95. So if you end up doing the math real quickly, we paid $49 a DNA kit, but that price will go up and down throughout the year, so just keep an eye out. So as you can see here, the shipping we paid for was for 5 to 8 days. The DNA test kit came in the mail on November 24th, 2017, which if you do the math, that's actually a week, 7 days, or 4 business days due to the Thanksgiving holiday. So I'm going to insert a clip of me opening the package and what the DNA kit has inside. So this is 23andMe, and the box looks pretty much the same. So opening this one is just a push through. Flipped over. Let's get started. Thank you for doing 23andMe and registering yourself. They actually have the instructions on the packet instead of on a little flip thing. So then we have this case that we open. And inside the case is this little thing. Oh, more instructions. I guess they do have instructions on the little flip thing, in case you couldn't read them right here. Another biohazard bag. Maybe. There we go. Another biohazard bag. And then the spit vial and the line to fill up to. Oh wait. So once we opened up the package, we realized that we had an activation code and we had to go online and activate the code. What the activation code does is it helps the DNA company realize whose DNA test is whose. So if you don't activate it, then the company will never realize that the DNA test is yours. Once we activated it, this company was actually really cool and asked us to take a bunch of questions about our health and who we were. So these questions help 23andMe understand more about our DNA and how our DNA affects certain things, certain traits. So I do recommend taking these questions, even though it does take forever, it feels like. But I recommend doing it just so you can help other people in the world understand their DNA more. So we can all contribute to the understanding of DNA. So I didn't videotape my husband and I spitting in the little spit tank vial because that's gross. But I recommend before doing the DNA test that you read the instructions and you understand them thoroughly before taking the DNA test, before you spit in that vial. Also, I recommend that you don't eat or drink up to 30 minutes before doing the DNA test. So my husband and I took our DNA test on January 1st, 2018. We sent the DNA test back on January 3rd, 2018. And then we got an email from the company saying they received our DNA kits on January 20th, 2018. Then we got another email saying our DNA test results were available on February 25th, 2018. So if you do the math from when we sent the DNA kit back to the day we got our DNA test results back, it was 7 weeks and a couple of days, so 7.5 weeks. Or if you go from the day that they received our DNA kits to the day we got our test results back, that was 6 weeks and a day. So 6 or 7 weeks, depending on how you look at it, is how quick we got our DNA test results back. Which is pretty good, which is not bad considering most companies say that it takes 6 to 8 weeks for you to get your DNA test results back. So they were right on schedule. So I guess let's get started on the DNA test results. So here's the 23andMe homepage, and I'm gonna hurry and sign in. So now I'm signed in, and this is kind of what the home page or the overview page looks like. So up here at the top, it's saying, hey, take our lifestyle survey. So right here in the middle are some things you can do, which is help somebody with depression and bipolar, take a picture to add to your DNA test results. What would you like to share your thoughts with others about 23andMe? So just some random things to do. I'm going to pay more attention to over here on the side, your information. So your DNA information is right here. So I guess let's start from the top and work our way down. The first is the ethnicity estimate. So here's my husband's ethnicity estimate. So here on the left-hand side is a list of everything my husband is, all of the ethnicities they think he is. They kind of break it down into main groups. So we have European, the Asian and Native American culture. Let me scroll down. And then we have Sub-African and Western Asian and North Africa. And then unassigned. And then they have subcategories underneath that, such as the Native American Mexico, the East Asian and Native American. And as you can see, they have color-coded each one of these ethnicities, and now you can see those colors here on the map on the right side. So yeah, he kind of fills up the whole entire world, doesn't he? So you can't really click on anything on the map. But if you click on a ethnicity over here on the side, let's say Native American Mexico, we can click on that, and it will give you a little brief summary about that culture or about that ethnicity. And then you can see where it's lit up on the map because it's kind of grayed out everything else on the map. Then we could do, North Africa. And now it's zoomed in on the North Africa region, and we've learned more. So a cool little thing is right here where it says see all test populations. I'm going to hurry and click on that. Okay, now it's giving me the Scientifical Details. So this is telling us how they calculate your ancestors' breakdown and how they determine your most recent ancestors' locations, which we'll get into later on. And then if you keep scrolling down, it says your test results of the 151 tested populations. So this is how this works. We have the British and Irish, and then it says your matching strength, and then what your percentage is. So what this is doing is it's showing you these little gray dots, and the more gray dots you have, the stronger your match is to that ethnicity. If you don't have gray dots, it doesn't mean you don't have a match to that ethnicity. It just means it's not a very strong match. So this will help you understand more about how they defined your ethnicity and what chunks you're more of than another chunk. So you can see that my husband's more Danish than he is Swedish or Norwegian, which is actually true if you look at his family tree. Same with he is more British than he is Irish. I can look at that on his family tree and confirm that too. So now we could just scroll through and see what his percentages are for each culture. And then also, like here for the Native American, they say he's more in the Mexico Native American, which is really handy in my opinion. So like you saw, if you want to see more in depth on an ethnicity, you just click the little triangle and you just go click and it expands or contracts it so you don't see all of it. So if we keep going down, you can now right here download your raw data. This is actually helpful because you can actually download your DNA or the data of your DNA and then upload it to other DNA companies, get your test results from other DNA companies, or do other things with your DNA. So this is kind of important to know if you want to play around with other websites. We can now see their reference data set. So we could see right here 23andMe customers, public data, total individuals. So what this is this table shows the number of reference of individuals used to define each broad ancestry population, or of each ethnicity. So we have 23andMe customers, the public data, total individuals, and now you can go through for each ethnicity and see that side-by-side comparison information. If you keep scrolling down, it will show you the last time they changed these logs, which they do keep updating. Now I'm going to go and hit the back arrow and go back to that ethnicity map. And we're going to keep scrolling down. So this is my husband's Ancestry Timeline. So it's showing you how many generations ago your most recent ancestor for each population. So it's saying that in the 1960s, my husband had grandparents or great-grandparents who were British and Irish, which is true. He had a couple of other races, but most of that's true. And then at the 1870s, he had some that were French and German and Scandinavian, which is also true. And then it just keeps going till we have pretty much all the cultures, all the main cultures. So now we can see where those ethnicities are in the timeline, my husband's Ancestry Timeline, which actually kind of helps with doing genealogy work, because I didn't really know my husband had any African blood in him, or West Asian blood, or even Jewishism. The Jewishism kind of makes sense because most of that came from Europe, and he had a lot of ancestors living in Europe that I know of on the family tree. I've never found anything on his family tree about any Asian culture or any African culture. I mean, it doesn't mean it's not there. It just means I haven't found it yet, or there's some illegitimacy going on in my husband's tree. So now I can look at this chart and go, okay, so most of it is from the 1800s to the 1720s. And then there's some of it from 1780s to the 1720s. I can go that far back in his tree and be like, where am I missing spots on his tree? And I can try to find records in those areas to try to connect to his tree. So now we can learn about how to interpret this results. And we click on that and it will just show you a little information on how to interpret it. Okay, we're gonna keep scrolling down. So how much of each ancestry did you inherit from your parents? So this section is just wanting you to order a DNA kit for your parents so you could see what DNA you got from whom. So let's keep scrolling. Ooh, this section's kind of fun. So this is the ethnicity estimate shown in a chromosome painting. So this is showing kind of, once again, what all his ethnicities were and where they are in his chromosomes. As you can see, I'm running my mouse over them and it's showing them on the little chromosome picture on the side. So sometimes you'll come across this where it says broadly Northwest European, and it's going to give you a little explanation about this broadly and why they've added it into his DNA, but why they can't show you it on the chromosome painting. And then we keep going through and you can see little sections. Oh, I guess the West African's lower down. And then you can change the confidential level up here. So you just click on that and it's pulled up this thing of confidence. So we have the 50% and we can just drag it over and be like, let's go to the 90% confident. Now I'm going to scroll down some, and now you can run your mouse over that and see each of those sections and their confidential. So as you see, if I change it to like 80 or 70, it'll just jump to 70. Their confidence of what his ethnicities are have changed versus when it was at 90 or 50. So this is just something that's kind of cool and fun to play around with. I'm going to scroll down. So now it's saying, yeah, now you can do more with your test results. You have view scientific details or discuss with people. So we've already viewed the scientific details. That's where we saw those bubbles and some were gray and some were white. And then you could click discuss and talk to some people about this, about your ethnicity results. And like always, you can either print or you can share your test results with others. So back to reports. So here we are on the overview homepage. And what I really love about Ancestry is they didn't just do the autosomal DNA, they did the mitochondrial DNA testing and the Y DNA testing. Mitochondrial is your maternal DNA testing and Y DNA is your paternal DNA testing. Everybody can get the autosomal DNA test done and everybody can get the maternal DNA test done. Only males can get their paternal DNA test done or their Y chromosome DNA testing done. As females, we don't have Y chromosomes because the Y chromosome means that you're a male. We have 2 X chromosomes, so that's why we can't have the paternal DNA test done or the Y chromosome DNA testing done. So if you're a female who's done the DNA testing, you will not see this. We're gonna hurry and check out this maternal section of the DNA testing. So now they have listed what my husband's maternal haplogroup is, which is H2A1. That actually sounds familiar to what the other DNA test company that did his maternal DNA testing did, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. So you're probably wondering what a haplogroup is. Let's hurry and Google that. A haplogroup is a genetic population group of people who share common ancestors on a paternal or maternal line, in this case maternal, later on it will be paternal. Haplogroups are assigned letters of alphabet and refinement constant and additional numbers and letter combinations. Okay, hopefully you understood that. Now your subclad is the genetic subclad is a term used to describe a subgroup or subgenus of your haplogroup. It is commonly used today to describe your genealogical DNA test of your mitochondrial DNA haplogroups and human Y chromosome DNA haplogroups. Okay, so that's a subclad, is a subcategory of your haplogroup. Haplogroup is the way of grouping, population grouping. Okay, now that we know what that is, we can move on. If we scroll down, you can now see a map of where his haplogroup started and how they split off and where they migrated or possibly migrated on the map of the world. So you can see here on the side the history of his haplogroup and how it has changed throughout the years. So it started as an L, went to an L3, an N, then an R, then an H, and then an H2A. And I bet if we keep scrolling, it'll be an H2A1. Then it's giving you information over here in the middle about your origins and migrations of your haplogroup, and then how far they can trace it back. And then right here it's telling you how common that haplogroup is with other 23andMe customers. So it's 1 in 162 people who have that same haplogroup. So that's kind of cool and interesting. We could see reference. And now we can see some references about haplogroups, in case you want to know more about haplogroups. So then right here it's telling you about famous people in history who may have also belonged to a haplogroup or a similar haplogroup of my husband. So they might be common ancestors. This St. Luke and my husband might have common ancestors. And then once again, you can click the see reference and see more reference about that. It is now giving you the science behind how they get your mitochondrial DNA. So your mitochondrial DNA comes from the mitochondrial part of your cells. Interesting to know, huh? Now you can come over here to the side and learn about maternal inheritance and how that works out. Then maternal haplogroup tree. Ooh, that's kind of cool and fun. You can kind of look at the tree. Or then tracing female generations. That's also kind of cool and interesting. And then if we scroll down, we can learn more about your haplogroup by taking a survey, tracing your maternal line, or join a discussion. So, yeah. And then, like always, if you want to learn more information about the mitochondrial DNA, you can click the Scientific Details, or you can share or print your mitochondrial DNA information. So let's go back. And now let's do the paternal haplogroup. So my husband's paternal haplogroup is E-M5021. And now we can scroll down, once again, see the migration pattern, a possible migration pattern. More migration information, the tracing of your haplogroup, how common his haplogroup is, which is 1 in 440 people. And then once again on the side, the evolution of his haplogroup. And if we keep scrolling down, oh, this time, instead of having a famous person with a similar haplogroup, we now have your haplogroup spread with the first farmers. Oh man, so now we have a little history and a little info about his haplogroup. What they did to the world and how they changed it. And then as we scroll down, the genetics of his haplogroup, so they're getting it from, like I said, the Y chromosome. This is why females cannot do the Y chromosome DNA testing, because males have the Y chromosome, so only they can do this Y chromosome DNA testing. Sorry ladies, we won't get to be able to do this DNA test, only males get to do it. And once again, we can click on the sides and learn about his paternal inheritance, or his paternal haplogroup tree, or tracing male migration, which is kind of interesting. And we scroll down, do more with your haplogroup research, take a survey, trace your paternal line, join a discussion. If you want to know more detail about the Y chromosome DNA testing, you could do this. You can click up here on the Scientific Details, or you can share your Y chromosome DNA testing or print your Y chromosome DNA test results. So let's go back. So next on that list down is your DNA family. So like most DNA companies, they allow you to do what's called cousin comparison. So this is what this is they're saying that my husband has 999 DNA relatives in the 23andMe DNA data center. There's 999 people in the 23andMe database that have similar segments of DNA that my husband has. So there's 3 other people in the 23andMe data center who are second cousins or closer to my husband. 996 that are third to fourth cousins to my husband. That does count once or more removed. And then many more who are fifth cousins or further from my husband. So I can't really click on anything right here. It doesn't click and show you anything. Except for this learn more. Which is now showing you the fifth cousin and how they find the fifth cousin or where that fifth cousin will be on your family tree. So we'll keep scrolling. Locations of your DNA relatives. Oh my gosh, this is cool. Okay. So this is the map of the United States. And it is saying that my husband has DNA relatives or people who have shared DNA segments as my husband. And that they live in 26 states in the United States. So obviously the gray means 0. And the darker the color or the darker the blue is, the more he has living in those states. This doesn't surprise me that we have Florida and Georgia, since he does have a lot of family members that are living in Florida. Utah doesn't surprise me, because we live in Utah, and so does all his immediate family, so that kind of doesn't surprise me. The California and Texas surprised me a little bit. I thought those numbers would be lower, but whatever. So you can run your mouse over each state and it will give you exact numbers of how many. So 10 to 15 DNA relatives live in New York. 15 to 20 live in Illinois. 25 live in Georgia. Or you can click up here on the click here and it will show you exactly. So 5 in Mexico, 5 in Canada, and in each state. Or you can click on the world and see a world map view. So it looks like most of my husband's family members live in the United States or Canada or Mexico. So here in the Northern America hemisphere. Which doesn't surprise me. So let's scroll down. So now it is saying the ancestry of your DNA relatives. So now it's showing the same people who are his DNA relatives or share segments of DNA that my husband has, what their ethnicities are too. So we could see that a lot of them are British and Irish. There's some French and German or Scandinavian. And these are all pretty similar to what my husband's ethnicity DNA test results are. So kind of wouldn't be surprising because, they're all family. They should all have, similar ethnicities. So yeah. So now we can click on these little arrows and we can go, your DNA relatives share both British and Irish ancestors. We have identified 375 individuals on the 23andMe database who share similar DNA as my husband, who are also British and Irish. So that's kind of cool. Now let's see what the Jewish is. There's 65 individuals who are my husband's DNA relatives and are on the 23andMe database who are Jewish. And we could go finish. Oh, there's only 10 individuals. Interesting. So this is kind of cool, kind of fun to see how many relatives have similar ethnicities of my husband. So scrolling down. Compared to the average... This section is kind of why you answer the surveys. Because by answering the surveys, we have now know some information about my husband and what is he more likely or less likely to have due to genetics. So his relatives have answered these questions, and due to the data that they have collected, my husband is 43 less likely to be vegetarian. He's not vegetarian. He's 93% less likely to have 2 different foot size. He is 83% less likely. I'm sorry, hold on, let me compose myself. So my husband's 83% less likely to find fresh cilantro to taste like soap. He actually does find cilantro to taste like soap. And I've actually recently discovered that a lot of people don't realize that that's genetic. Cilantro tasting like soap is actually in your genes. Your genes make it taste soapy or taste like cilantro or taste like nothing. So most people apparently didn't believe me on that till recently, and I can now prove it. He is 35% less likely to drink energy drinks, 34% likely to be jittery after drinking caffeine, or we can show all and have more that pop up saying he's more likely to do this or less likely to do this because of his DNA. Doesn't mean he's actually going to follow everything that's on this list. It just means he's more or less likely to. So yeah. If you scroll down, you can connect to other relatives, and then you can go to your DNA relatives tool. I'm actually going to show this later on, so we're not going to jump right into it. Once again, you can look into the scientific details of this section, or you can share this information or print this information. So let's go back. So we just did your family DNA. Now we could do your Neanderthal ancestors. So 23andMe actually compares Neanderthal variants, which I actually haven't found any other DNA company to do that. So this is actually kind of cool. It says he has 277 Neanderthal variants. This is actually less than 51% of other 23andMe customers or other people who've done DNA testing with 23andMe. Kind of interesting. But it also says right here, your Neanderthal ancestors account for less than 4% of your overall DNA. Then we can also click right here and learn more about the Neanderthal variants and how they test for that. Gonna keep scrolling. So right now it's saying my husband is first place out of his family members and friends of having Neanderthal variants. Well, he really doesn't have any other family members or friends connected to him on here on 23andMe. We haven't done that yet. So of course he's gonna be in first place. But if you want to, you can invite relatives and friends, and then you guys can compare how much variance you guys all have from each other. So why they do the Neanderthal variants is because some of these Neanderthal variants influence your traits. It says right here, some of your traits may be influenced by having Neanderthal variants. So they're kind of showing some of the main things that his Neanderthal variants could factor into his life, such as straight hair, but he has 0 Neanderthal variants to have straight hair. Actually, my husband doesn't have straight hair, so that's true. He's less likely to sneeze after eating dark chocolate. He has 1 Neanderthal variant associated with this. That's something I didn't even know existed. I have to go try that now. Less likely to have back hair. He has 0 Neanderthal variants associating with having less back hair. He doesn't really have any back hair, so okay. Height. He has 0 Neanderthal variants associated with his height. Okay, I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Is that supposed to mean he's tall or short? Interesting. So let's keep scrolling down. And then the brief history of Neanderthals. So We have this introduction that's going to explain about the Neanderthal history, and then we can go through each section in history and learn more about the Neanderthals for each of those sections and see how their skulls are formed apparently and how they've changed throughout the generations. And then their migration patterns and today's Neanderthals. Then we scroll down, join the forum, view scientific details, take a survey. Once again, if you want to know more about the Neanderthal section, do the more scientific details. Or you can share your Neanderthal information, or you can print your Neanderthal DNA information. We're going to go back. So here's DNA relatives. We kind of had a section here on your DNA family that said go to the DNA relatives. Well, now we're going to go to that. So here's his DNA relatives. So they're showing 997 out of 997 DNA relatives my husband has. So these are once again people who have same DNA segments as my husband. So we can see right here what they think their relationship is to my husband, how much of DNA they share together, and how many segments of DNA they share together. So you've probably noticed that some of these are gray and purple dots. The gray dots mean they are not sharing their DNA information or their DNA test results. The purple means that they do share their DNA test results. So these people with the purple dot, you can click on them and see their DNA test results. And now it's showing this person's DNA test results. And you can scroll down and see all their DNA test results. So first off, they're showing how many generations apart you are and what that would kind of look like. Next is where their ancestors are located. Then the ethnicities that you both have in common. And then compared haplogroups. Then next is relatives that you have in common. So people who've done the DNA test here for 23andMe that shares the same DNA as this person and my husband. And then next is where you can see where they have shared chromosomes. And I think that's pretty much it, except for over here on the side is you can message the person and have a conversation with them. Now we can click on a person who doesn't have the shared DNA test results and see what that looks like. So on the right hand side, you can message them. Then it's showing, the percentage of DNA you share, how you guys are connected on the family tree. Then it's saying you can request to share information just with this person. Ancestry locations, it's showing ours, but it's not showing theirs because they don't have it shared. Next is ethnicity. It's showing our ethnicity, not his, because it's not available at this time. It is showing us his haplogroups. Interesting. And then it is also showing us relatives that my husband has in common with him. So it's not a total complete bust if they don't share their DNA information, but you do get more information if they share, obviously. So now back to this page. So over here on the right hand side are some filters you can use. So you can search up a certain person, look through certain notifications, go through how close you guys are, how further your relationship are from each other. You can search through common ancestors' birthplace, surnames, and mother and father side information. And then hide anonymous relatives. Interesting. So we're gonna go back. Okay, so did DNA relatives, share and compare. So this is where you would share your DNA test results with family members and So we haven't done a DNA test for anybody in my husband's family besides me. So we could click invite a partner and then have me put in my DNA information or have it connect to my 23andMe DNA test results. And then we could go through and see carrier status genetic health risks, wellness, traits, ancestry composition, maternal haplogroup, and paternal haplogroup, and we can compare all those. But we haven't done that, so probably should have done that before filming this. And then if you scroll down, you can also invite your children and friends and family members. So you can invite more than just, people on your family tree. So go back. So next on the list is research. And research is just the questionnaire section. So this would be saying during the past month, how would you rate your sleep quality? Then you can go and skip this question and move on to other questions. This just helps them learn more about DNA. You can also click on discoveries. Questionnaires that are related just to your allergies or your ancestors, asthma, cancer, family infertility, and you can answer those questionnaires. Or you can go to publications, and then publications is where you can find topics about DNA and certain things such as mental illness, autism, ancestries, brain. You can click on brain and now it's giving you all brain disease, psychology, reading articles or discoveries about how DNA is connected to these things, in case you wanted to know. And the next on the list is publications, which is just sending you to where we were at in the research section where it said publications, and it's showing you how DNA is connected or linked to certain things such as autism, depression, mental state, and how you can read articles about those things. So now that we've done everything right here on the side, you would think that would cover everything you can do on 23andMe and your DNA, but it doesn't. So up here is a little toolbar where you can do more things with your DNA. So we have reports, which is pretty much everything that was listed down here. As you saw, view reports, ancestry composition, maternal, your haplogroups, your Neanderthal, DNA family. If you go over here to research, this is where it's pretty much the same thing down here, the research questions. But we have tools. Tools is slightly different. We have done the DNA relatives, your connections, we have looked at those. We have not looked at the grand tree. Don't think we've looked at the DNA comparison or the share and compare. We haven't looked at the find the genetic counseling forms or your browse your raw DNA. I don't think we've looked at any of those. So let's go start at the grand tree. So the grand tree is a tool to help us see the DNA shared between a grandparent and their grandchild. I don't think this is going to work because my husband's grandparents haven't done a DNA test. But let's start anyway. Well, once again, this is totally undoing my science behind DNA testing video. Okay, so this is just giving you the information about how much DNA you share with your maternal grandparents, because a lot of DNA is lost throughout the generations. Okay, well, once again, kind of information about how some of the information's lost, more information about it. Just keeps going. View the grand tree. Yeah, let's view the grand tree. Oh, well, that was pointless. So it has my husband, and of course, since we haven't done a DNA test for his parents or his grandparents, it's not really showing us anything. I'll have to come back and do a video once we've done that. Okay, so let's go to tools and go to DNA comparison. So this is compare your DNA with close and distant relatives. So over here on the left hand side is my husband, and then select other relatives you want to compare. Or you can come over here and search a name, or I'm guessing we can just click on people. Sure, let's go with those people. Those 3 people, and now we can compare DNA with them. I believe this is going to compare chromosomes. Let's see. Oh, yep, it's comparing chromosomes. Okay, so this is my husband in person A, my husband in person B, and my husband in person C. As you can see, they have been color-coded, so it's easier to find them here on the chromosome chart listed below. You can also see how much DNA they share. So person A and my husband share 88 cms of DNA. Cms is just a measuring unit. That's all you need to know. Cms is a measuring unit. So they share 88 cms. They share 5 segments. With person B, it's 39 cms and 3 segments. Ooh, person C, they share a lot more. They share 179 cms and 9 segments. And then if you come below here on the chromosomes, you can see right here this orange section is that segment they were talking about earlier, the 3 segments. There's segment 1 and segment 2 of DNA that they share. So they share those 2 same segments of DNA or chromosomes. You come over here and see this, where the purple and the yellow are literally right over the top of each other. What that means is that person A and person C share the same DNA segment as my husband. All 3 of them right there share the same DNA segment, which means possibly are cousins on, let's say, like my husband's mother's side. And so they're all going to be cousins on that side. So that would mean that they're related. Unlike person B, who is not sharing those similar DNA segments or chromosome segments, which means person B is related to my husband, but they're probably not related. They're more than likely not related to person A and C. They're probably related to my husband on, let's say, his dad's side of the family. So that kind of helps with doing genealogy work. Because now we can go and talk to person A and C and be like, oh, where are we connected on the family tree? And see that, and possibly see that, yes, they are all cousins, or they all relate back to one ancestor. So if we scroll down, we can now look at other chromosomes that they all share. Once again, we can see there's more of the purple and the yellow matching. So I would say that person A and C are probably really closely related to my husband, just because they have so many same shared segment, all 3 of them. They're probably really close to each other on the family tree. So that's kind of interesting and cool. So if you want to change who you're comparing chromosomes or DNA with, you could just come up here and say select different relatives or friends to compare with. So let's click on that. And now I can go be like, I don't want to look at you, or actually no, I don't want to look at you. I want to look at this person. And then we can compare. But I'm going to go next on the list. We're doing D. Okay, so next on the list is share and compare. So let's click on that. Oh, yep, we have done the share and compare. Let's do find genetic counseling. So this section will let you know what genetic counseling is, and if you want to do genetic counseling, and then how to find a person through the National Society of Genetic Counselors or through a doctor. So next is forms, which apparently isn't working. Okay then. So this is where you can download your raw data in case you want to upload it on another DNA website, which there's quite a few DNA websites where you can upload your DNA from. I will be doing more videos on other websites where you can do that. And then you can just browse your chromosome down below. So let's see, let's click on 19. Okay, I'm so not scrolling anymore. So it is now telling us the genetic makeup of my husband. So it's saying right here is some genes. The SMP marks, I don't know what that means off the top of my head. I guess we could click on the little eye and see the mark of a specific location So these are markers of specific locations in genomes that are quite unique or different from others. Interesting. And then it's showing you positionings, variants, and your genotype. Wow. Okay, that was a little more information than I was willing to share. Okay. That's kind of cool and fun if you actually know the scientific things behind that. Wow. Okay. So if you do want to download your DNA, all you would have to do is click here on download, or right here on download. Click. So now it's telling you about downloading your DNA and some of the security things you're going to have to do. And then you can hit submit request, and then you can request your DNA. So I hope this video was helpful and you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please comment below. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Also, if you have any suggestions on what else I should film, please also comment below. And I hope you all have a beautiful week. Bye!